Okay, I'm a little hyped up right now, so please excuse me as I blurt out my original 2 bits on this episode, Bloom and Gloom, for a moment. Oh my god, this episode was so awesome. It's another one of those Crusader episodes with Princess Luna involved, but it's Apple Bloom, and it's all this inception of layers of dreams, and she's getting involved with Cutie Mark, and just, the dream sequences are legitimately freaky and psychological. It takes you by surprise, and holy shit! Luna found the rift! All the Crusaders are together in this clubhouse, but it's a dream clubhouse, and Scootaloo can fly! Diamond, eat your heart out, you soulless piece of shit! So it's all a trilogy of the Crusaders' interactions with Luna, with all their internal conflicts that have been facing through the entire series, and thus the developments are progressed. It's brilliant! It's fucking brilliant! It's amazing! As you already have guessed, I am deeply in love with this episode. It's a new extension for the CMC, further character development for Apple Bloom, and what potential may come next for all of them in the series. It's possible it may have been breaking that annoying trend where the CMC would assume that their current situations of getting their cutie marks. If that norm is broken, then I have to give credit to who actually wrote this episode. Yeah, very funny. I'm sure it was Emmy Larson, Amy Keating Rogers, or Megan McCarthy. You're shitting me, right? Josh Haber, writer of some of the blandest formulated episodes of Season 4, wrote Bloom and Gloom? Damn, he stepped up a notch. I don't know about you, but I think this season's getting better and better. Oh, it's a little early to say that. I hope I don't jinx it. Anyway, this episode begins when Apple Bloom calls her friends to the treehouse and inform them that her cousin Babseed has gotten her cutie mark. However, as excited as they are for her, they also worry if she'll still run her clubhouse in Manhattan or be a member at all, as well as whether or not she'd be satisfied with it.
If she spends all her time cutting hair, who's gonna run the Manhattan CMCs? Well, not Babs. She can't be a cutie mark crusader if she's already got her cutie mark. Oh, wow. I guess you're right. I'm glad she's happy, but I sure wouldn't want to be up to my flanking mane hair all day. Can you imagine getting stuck with a cutie mark you didn't like?
This right off the bat questions the possible outcomes of what one must do when their main goal of the series is accomplished. Back when I made a video about the show upon my confessions, I briefly stated a few things about the cutie mark plot device and how it was put to good use to teach young viewers about the values of what you find in your future. Here, it talks about how making a final decision without careful thought is repercussive. Realistically, the decisions of what a kid wants to be when growing up is more overwhelming than you think. One day they'd want to be an astronaut, but then a few years later they pique their interest and wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, an archaeologist, paleontologist, or whatever career they want to face. With all that said, this overwhelms Apple Bloom. With the thought of how long she's been wanting a cutie mark now isn't a simple wait anymore. Rather, a scary conflict of what her cutie mark will come at the cost of.
Alright, that's enough, Sugar Cube. Those are way too many questions to answer all in one night.
But
And no pony's gonna make you move out.
are you sure, Applejack?
Of course I'm sure. Now get some sleep.
As Apple Bloom dreams, she faces through these thoughts that she had feared. How it would come at the cost of her desires of what her cutie mark presents, the cost of her friends, and the cost of her family. Periodically, she encounters a voice in the middle of what looks like the Everfree Forest, but it's a never-ending wilderness.
Why would I want you to torment me with nightmares?
You didn't want to catch bugs and I helped. You didn't want to lose friends and I helped. If there's a problem with your family, I'm sure I can help with that too.
I don't want your help!
The shock value behind it is somewhat psychological, or more on the lines of A Nightmare on Elm Street, where what's used here is done through the mild sense of surrealism, and every sequence Apple Bloom reaches becomes more and more intense. I'm guessing this effect is becoming a new theme for the season. Not sure yet. It starts out like an ordinary day, and then it becomes a bit more depressing every step of the way. Some moments have a big highlight, most notably Big Mac, as he has more lines instead of yep or nope. Finally, Big Mac can say more lines. Eventually, Luna arrives to put an end to this madness as she reveals to Apple Bloom that all of this conflict was inflicted by herself in fear.
It's just me? You mean I've been doing all this to myself?
Of course, Apple Bloom. It's your dream.
If I've been dreaming this whole time, why don't I just wake up?
Sometimes we can worry about a thing so much the fear can make us feel like we're trapped in a nightmare.
Unless you're a lucid dreamer, you don't know you're in a dream while sleeping. A lot of what you're experiencing is becoming more focused than consciously aware. There are times I wish I knew what was going on whenever I had nightmares as a kid, but that happens. Another following line implies that a cutie mark is who you are. It's a bit weird putting this out there, but it makes sense. Rarity's a seamstress, but her cutie mark is a trio of diamonds, as she's good at finding any gems on the ground. Applejack's cutie mark is a trio of apples, but that's a part of the apple bloodline. Each of the members have an apple of some sort, and so to speak, they have passionate ways of providing what apples they can offer. It's who they are. Anyway, thinking she's alone in the conflict about her cutie mark, Luna reveals to Apple Bloom's friends that they are facing similar circumstances in their own nightmares, and they are all brought forth to a dream clubhouse where Scootaloo can fly. This is adorable beyond belief, though the question I ask is why couldn't she develop that thought in Sleepless in Ponyville? I guess it wasn't brought to question until Flight to the Finish, so I guess that's beyond something to ask. As they're all gathered together, they talk about Babs Seed, and for whatever possible worry she might be in, they're willing to offer support despite that she got her cutie mark. So that concludes the trilogy of the CMC and their dream interactions with Luna. Potentially they might have more of this dream clubhouse, but as much as I'd want to see that happen later on, I should not assume so. As it is, it's nice to add that they're all friends and are willing to stick together no matter what. And it's interesting to see how far the CMC has gone at this point. It's also worth mentioning that there are a few bits that give a nice touch and feel to the episode, such as Applejack's lullaby, which in my opinion is sweet and feels like a real lullaby. The dream visuals are not as openly aesthetic as Sleepless in Ponyville is, or For Whom the Sweetie Belle Toils, but it's also different enough for me to appreciate on what the writers and animators are willing to do. Out of all of Josh Haber's episodes, this one to me is his best. It's touching, suspenseful, and it's a great end to this little trilogy. What remains is what else will happen later on with the CMC. Are they going to focus on what they like doing? Or will it all stem back to that moronic trope where they assume that through another activity they'll get a cutie mark off of? Only time will tell. Until then, this is Golden Fox, and I'll catch you all later.
Something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! I ain't afraid of no ghosts.